Stop for a second, because this message may hit you right in the heart. When something truly ends, when you finally let go, when you stop waiting for messages, explanations, or apologies, that is often the exact moment they feel it the strongest. The silence you think means it's over becomes the loudest wake-up call for their heart. What they ignored before suddenly becomes impossible to forget, and that's when love returns. Quietly, deeply, and unexpectedly. Welcome to Sophia, and take a deep breath as you settle into this energy. This reading is not meant to force anything or fit everyone's story. Only take what resonates with you and gently release the rest. The feelings coming through here are tender, emotional, and a little bittersweet. There's an ending on the surface, but beneath it, something is beginning to stir again. In today's reading, 3 cards step forward with powerful meaning. The Death card, the Lovers, and the Knight of Cups. Together, they speak of a chapter closing, a heart realizing its true choice, and emotions that return with honesty and vulnerability. These cards don't appear lightly. They show moments where loss creates clarity and distance makes the heart finally speak the truth it once hid. This energy is about realizing too late, but realizing deeply. It's about someone who thought they were fine until you were truly gone. Someone who believed moving on would be easy, only to discover that love doesn't disappear just because a story pauses. When control fades, when certainty breaks, feelings rise to the surface in ways they can no longer deny. Stay with me as we go deeper into this message, because what's revealed next explains why endings can awaken love again, and why their heart changes only after it feels like everything is finished. When these 3 cards come together, Death, the Knight of Cups, and the Lovers, they tell a powerful emotional story about endings that awaken truth, loss that softens the heart, and love that returns only when it is finally understood. This is not a light or casual message. This is a journey of emotional transformation, where everything had to fall apart so something real could finally be felt. The Death card opens this story by showing the moment when it truly ended. Not the kind of ending where people say, "Let's see what happens," but the kind where hope slowly fades and acceptance settles in. This was the phase of letting go, of emotional exhaustion, of finally choosing yourself or walking away because staying hurt too much. This ending stripped away comfort, ego, and illusions. It forced silence. And in that silence, truth began to grow. Love did not disappear here. It went dormant, waiting for awareness to catch up. After that emotional ending, the Knight of Cups rises. This is where the heart wakes up. Once the connection was gone, emotions that were ignored suddenly became impossible to avoid. Memories softened. Longing replaced confusion. The Knight of Cups shows emotional honesty returning, not loud, not dramatic, but deep and sincere. This is the stage where they fall in love again, not because they have you, but because they lost you. Love becomes real when it's no longer guaranteed. The Knight of Cups represents vulnerability. It shows a heart that has been cracked open by loss and now wants to speak. Apologies feel closer. Confessions feel necessary. Emotions want expression instead of suppression. This is no longer about control or pride. It's about the ache of missing someone who mattered more than they realized at the time. Romance returns here, but it is different, softer, wiser, more intentional. Then the Lover's card brings the final truth. This is the moment of choice. After the ending and the emotional awakening, the heart and mind finally agree. The Lovers shows clarity. It shows knowing. This card says, "This connection matters, and I can't deny it anymore." Falling in love again becomes a conscious decision, not an accident. It's not driven by fear of being alone, but by recognition of what feels right. Together, these cards show a timeline of emotional growth. First, the ending had to happen. Without it, nothing would have changed. Then, feelings resurfaced in a deeper, more honest way. Finally, love became a choice instead of an assumption. This is love that matures through loss, love that learns through absence. Love that returns only when it understands its value. There is also a powerful message here for you. These cards show that your decision to step back, to let things end, was necessary. Your silence taught what words could not. Your absence became the lesson that opened their heart. You didn't lose this connection, you transformed it. Even if nothing returns physically, the emotional truth has already shifted permanently. Emotionally, this combination carries regret, longing, and hope all at once. They regret not loving you fully when they had the chance. They long for what felt safe and real with you, and they hope, quietly, that love may still be possible in some form. This is not careless hope. It is reflective, humbled, and sincere. These cards also remind us that love doesn't always arrive on time. Sometimes it arrives after damage, after silence, after endings. But when it arrives with awareness, it arrives deeply. This is not the kind of love that plays games or hides. This is love that understands consequences and chooses differently because of them. The combined energy here is emotional rebirth. Death clears the past. The Knight of Cups opens the heart. The Lovers demands a choice. Together, they show that when something feels over, it may simply be transforming into something more honest. Not every ending leads back to reunion, but every ending leads to truth. And sometimes, that truth is love that finally knows what it wants. This message is gentle but strong. It says that love doesn't return when we chase it. It returns when we release it. When we stop holding on, the heart wakes up. When control fades, feelings rise. And when everything feels finished, that's often when love becomes real. Whatever comes next in this connection will not be the same as before. It cannot be. These cards don't allow repetition of old patterns. They promise growth, awareness, and emotional depth. Whether love reunites or simply heals, it does so with honesty. And that is the true message of these three cards together. Endings awaken hearts. Loss creates clarity. And love returns only when it is finally understood. The Death card comes into this reading with a heavy but honest energy. It does not speak of physical loss, but of an ending that feels final, unavoidable, and deeply emotional. In the context of this topic, the Death card shows that something truly had to end for feelings to awaken again. This is not about temporary distance or playful silence. This is about a moment where one or both of you accepted, this is over, and began to emotionally detach. That acceptance is the turning point. That is where everything begins to change. This card reveals that when they believed the connection was done for good, something inside them broke open. The Death card strips away illusions, ego, excuses, and emotional laziness. It forces truth. When you stopped trying, stopped explaining, stopped holding space for them, they were left alone with their thoughts. And in that stillness, they realized what they had lost. The Death card says love didn't return while things were comfortable. Love returned when comfort disappeared. There is a deep sense of regret connected to this energy. Not dramatic regret, not begging yet, but a quiet realization that grows stronger each day. They replay moments, words they didn't say, chances they ignored. The Death card shows that they had to feel the absence fully to understand the value of what was gone. Before, they may have felt powerful, in control, or emotionally guarded. Now, that control is gone. This ending humbled them. This card also speaks of emotional rebirth, but only after grief. The Death card never brings renewal without loss first. In this situation, it shows that they could not love you the right way before. They were operating from fear, confusion, or ego. When the connection ended, those layers fell away. What's left is raw truth, and that truth is love they can no longer deny. The Death card tells us that their feelings now come from a different place. This is not surface attraction or comfort-based attachment. This is emotional clarity born from loss. They now understand that love is not guaranteed, that people do not wait forever. The ending forced them to grow up emotionally. It forced them to feel consequences. And through that, their heart reopened. There is also an important message here for you. The Death card shows that you did the right thing by letting go. Even if it hurt, even if it felt scary, your release was necessary. Had you stayed, had you kept trying, this awakening would not have happened. The card honors your strength. It shows that your silence spoke louder than words ever could. Your absence became the lesson. This card also warns that this transformation took time. It wasn't instant. At first, they felt relief, freedom, or distraction. But once the reality set in, once they realized you were not coming back the same way, emotions surfaced fast and deep. The Death card energy moved slowly, but permanently. Once this realization hit them, it changed them. They cannot go back to who they were before. Emotionally, this card shows fear mixed with longing. They are afraid because they know if they returned, they must return differently. They cannot repeat old patterns. They know another ending would destroy the connection completely. That awareness makes them cautious, but also sincere. The Death card removes games. What comes after it is real or nothing at all. Most importantly, the Death card confirms the heart of this message. Love returned only after it felt finished. When hope died, love was reborn. When attachment ended, truth appeared. This card does not promise easy reconciliation, but it does promise honesty. Whatever comes next will not be shallow. It will be real, transformed, and emotionally awakened. The Death card closes one chapter so another can begin, not as it was, but as it must be. The Knight of Cups enters this reading with a completely different energy, softer, emotional, and deeply romantic. After the ending shown by the Death card, this card reveals what rises from the emotional ashes. It speaks of feelings that are no longer hidden, love that wants to be expressed, and a heart that can no longer stay silent. In the context of this topic, the Knight of Cups shows the moment when they fall in love again, not suddenly, but consciously. This card represents someone who has been emotionally moved by loss. The Knight of Cups does not chase from ego. He moves from feeling. After everything ended, after they truly felt your absence, their emotions softened. What once felt confusing now feels clear. The Knight of Cups shows them replaying memories, not with pain anymore, but with longing and tenderness. They don't just miss you, they understand you now. The Knight of Cups energy reveals emotional courage. This is someone who is finally ready to speak from the heart. Before, they may have avoided deep conversations, brushed things off, or kept their feelings vague. Now, silence feels unbearable. The ending cracked them open. This card shows them wanting to express love in words, gestures, or messages they once held back. The romance returns, but this time with intention. In this topic, the Knight of Cups tells us that once it felt truly over, their hearts shifted into action, not reckless action, but emotional movement. They began imagining what they would say if they reached out. They rehearse apologies. They picture emotional conversations late at night. This card is full of imagination and emotional honesty. Love becomes poetic when it is no longer taken for granted. This card also speaks of vulnerability. The Knight of Cups is willing to risk rejection because love matters more than pride now. The fear of losing you permanently is stronger than the fear of being emotionally exposed. They understand that romance is not about perfection, but about sincerity, and sincerity is what they are finally ready to offer. There is a sense of emotional maturity growing here. This knight is not the same person as before. He has learned through loss. The ending forced him to feel deeply, and now he wants to love deeply. The Knight of Cups does not return empty-handed. He comes with emotions he has processed, words he has chosen carefully, and intentions that are genuine. This is love after awakening. The Knight of Cups also shows a shift in how they see you. Before, they may have admired you without fully valuing you. Now, they see your worth clearly. Your absence made your presence sacred. They recognize your emotional depth, your patience, and your strength. Falling in love again happens because they finally see you, not as an option, but as someone irreplaceable. This card carries a gentle warning as well. The Knight of Cups moves from the heart, but he must stay grounded. The feelings are real, but they need to be followed by consistent action. Words and emotions are powerful, but they must align with behavior. This card shows desire and intention. The follow-through is what will define the outcome. Most importantly, the Knight of Cups confirms the heart of this message. Love returns not through force, but through emotional truth. Once everything felt finished, romance found its way back. Not loud, not dramatic, but sincere and heartfelt. This is love that chooses, not love that assumes. The Knight of Cups shows a heart ready to cross emotional distance, carrying feelings that can no longer be ignored, guided by the realization that some connections are worth risking everything for. The Lover's card comes into this reading as the final and most powerful confirmation of this story. It speaks of truth, choice, and love that cannot be ignored once it is fully understood. In the context of this topic, the Lovers shows the moment when feelings stop being confusing and become clear. After the ending, after the emotional awakening, this card reveals the choice they can no longer avoid, the choice of love. This card is not just about romance. It is about alignment. The Lovers appears when the heart and mind finally agree. Before, they may have felt torn between fear and desire, between freedom and commitment, between ego and emotion. When everything ended, that inner conflict grew louder, and now, the lovers shows that they have reached clarity. They know what they want, and they know who they want. The Lovers card reveals that falling in love again is not accidental. It is intentional. This is not a spark that happens by chance. It is a realization that this connection holds meaning, depth, and soul-level recognition. They see you as someone who mirrors their truth, challenges their growth, and touches their heart in a way no one else has. That recognition only came once the connection was lost. There is also honesty in this card. The Lovers removes masks. It asks for truth, not performance. In this situation, it shows that they can no longer lie to themselves about how they feel. Pretending they moved on doesn't work anymore. Distracting themselves doesn't work. Their heart keeps pulling them back to you. This card shows love that demands acknowledgement. The Lovers also speaks of emotional responsibility. Choosing love means choosing vulnerability, effort, and consistency. They understand now that love is not something you keep on hold. It requires presence. It requires courage. The ending taught them that losing you is a real possibility, and that lesson changed how they value the connection. This card reveals a deep spiritual bond as well. There is a sense of familiarity, as if your souls recognize each other beyond logic. The Lovers often appears in connections that feel fated or transformative, not because they are easy, but because they are meant to teach deep lessons. In this case, the lesson was lost before clarity, separation before truth. For you, the Lovers card brings validation. It shows that the connection was real, even if it was mishandled before. It wasn't your imagination. The feelings were mutual, but awareness arrived at different times. This card honors your role in this journey. Your decision to walk away forced truth to rise. Your self-respect activated their awakening. Emotionally, this card shows tenderness mixed with fear. They know love now, but they also know what's at stake. Choosing love means choosing change, and change can be scary, but the pull is stronger than the fear. The Lovers card does not allow half choices. It demands a full-hearted decision. Most importantly, the Lovers confirms the core of this message. When it felt truly over, love became undeniable. When distance made things real, their heart finally chose. This is love that returns not out of habit, but out of understanding. The Lovers card closes this reading by showing that endings can lead to alignment, and loss can lead to truth. Love doesn't always arrive on time, but when it arrives with awareness, it arrives deeply.